Hello, this is Marit. I'm coming to you from Berlin, and I'm very excited for this women's game at the European Youth Ultimate Championships in Ghent. Uh, we're looking forward to a game between Sweden and Austria. They're in the same pool. Have Sweden has already won and lost a game against Italy, whereas Austria is still waiting for their first win. Let's see what's happening in this game. Sweden will be competing in blue, whereas Austria is competing in black. And white and blue. What we can see them do right now is start with a pre-game spirit circle. That is actually something that's encouraged from the World Flying Disc Federation as well as from the European Ultimate Federation to get this sport into the fair play mindset that we expect from all players in every division and at every age group. These games are self-officiated, meaning that the players are responsible for knowing all the rules and using them in a spirited manner. Having a pre-game spirit circle is a good way to set the correct tone for a game. At this moment, the spirit captains and captains will introduce themselves and they can talk if there's any particular issues they expect. It's unlikely and hopeful that they just check in with each other and then we can see them have a great game in a couple of minutes. The game will start any minute now. This will be the last pool game for these two teams, and then according to the original schedule, they should move on to power pools, and then there will be semifinals on Friday and finals on Saturday. So check in back with us in the next couple of days. There's still more of exciting Ultimate to happen. It looks like Austria is starting on offense, and that will mean that's Sweden starting with the pole from the right of our screens. I'll take it back. Neither team currently has a disc. Okay, it is the other way around. Austria is starting on defense, and Sweden is starting on offense. We can expect to see Arensmeyer, the captain, number 24 for Sweden, to be on this line. She's been influential in the last couple of games. And here the pole's going and sailing out of bounds. It's not sailing out of bounds. I'm mistaken. Austria is setting up in a zone defense, and Sweden is handling with a 3-handler set, currently just moving the disc laterally. Nice pass through the middle and down the sideline. 34 moves it back to the handler set. And that's our first defense. This gives a first break chance for Austria. They're setting up in a classical vert stack. Let's see what happens now. It is unfortunately really difficult to see numbers. So great cut from the back. And we see nice upline cut. Unfortunately, doesn't connect. So Sweden has another chance to score. Arensmeyer is picking the disc up. And a great inside pass almost over to the goal line. We have a 1v2 situation, and Sweden scores. The score is Angela Peterson, number 15, to Wilma Westman, the number 34. Especially that second possession showed clear and calmness from the Swedish side. But good job to first get a break and a good read on that defensive hook. A good read from the defense on that hook. Looking forward to the rest of this game. I don't know if you could hear that whistle. That is an indicator for the offense to have only 15 seconds, just because between points, after scoring a point, the next offensive side has 60 seconds to be ready to receive the pole. That's a great pole. It lands in pitch, fielded to the center. Austria is also working from a horizontal set out of pole play, trying to make it work with the handler side. And they've now merged back into a vert stack. Great pass to the break side, and the puck is going up, and we'll see if she can get there. Can she get there? Can she get there? Yes! She caught it immediately in front of the end zone, so we did one more pass from Austria for their first score in this game. Really unlucky. Great patience from the cutter that caught that disc. Unlucky misconnection, which now gives Austria another chance to score. Discus going up, and the cutter's running, and they got it! So, amazing play by Austria, using those deep shots and reeling back in. That score was from number 30, Daria Shiruga, to number 13, Sita Sandner. So far, both teams have been struggling a bit in miscommunication, which is a testament potentially to a good tight defense, but also we can hope that they might calm down during the game so that they get used to what's going on. The pull is going up, and we can land center field. It's fielding the pole and immediately moving it forward. Austria setting up again in their zone. Sweden currently passing in the middle of the field quite comfortably. And the disc is going up, and the disc is going back down. Can she get there? No. Unfortunately, for Sweden, the Austrian defender is getting there first. And now they get another break chance. And Sweden is completely handling it across the pitch. They've moved it to the other sideline. Number 34 has a disc, and they're reeling it back in the end zone. This is another score for Sweden. Lisa Ahlgren to Lisa Arensmeyer, the number 24, the captain for the Swedish women's side. We've seen this Swedish team work quite comfortably through both of those zones as long as they work it with short passes through the middle. Both deep shots, although I like them taking those deep shots and making those options, have been deep by the Austrians. So we'll need to see if they can adjust their deep shots or if they can just carry on moving it with short passes across the pitch. So far, this is a very even game. Let's see if it keeps being this close. The post going up, Austria receiving it and setting up in a horizontal stack again. Great rundown by the Swedish defense. Good isolation. Unfortunately, can't wheel the disc in. And there's a Swedish player on the floor. And after short discussion, I think the disc is going to stay where it is. And let's get checked back in. The disc is going up, and she's running it down, and she's carrying it into the end, almost into the end zone. There's just one more, and a cheeky high release over the top of their mark leads to another score for Austria. It's the number 63, Filipa Bubinic, to Daria Sharuga, who already had the assist on the first goal. The 63, Bubinic, is so far the scoreboard leader before this game for Austria. Overall in the tournament, and we'll see how that shapes up in this game. You're seeing another great pole. The pole's going. It's landing inbounds but close to the sideline, giving the Austrians some time to recover and set up their zone. Sweden is working it up to the sideline through short passes. The number 10 currently and 24 currently have every second pass. Great cross field shot, but read well by the Austrian defender. Austria is working it down the sideline. Ivar Anderson on the disc. And great second effort by that second Austrian player. Good heads up, working together as a team. Unfortunately, that reset doesn't work, and Sweden is moving it down the pitch again. It's again. And the disc is up, and Sweden is still moving it now on the far sideline. Against this match defense, and now the disc is going up into the end zone. Several defenders under it, but Sweden can reel it in. That was again an assist by Lisa Adensmeyer, the captain for the Swedish side, to Freya McLean, who's one of the spare captains for the Swedish side. Sweden is making an effort to use the crossfield space as much as possible, so they're trying to shoot it to the other side. That has not worked as quite so well against the zone, but it's worked really well against the wide stack just now for the score. And the pull's up. Austria again setting up. We're setting up in a horizontal stack with a good isolation of the middle player. And a reset to the handler. Really unlucky second effort still. And the disc is going up, and we can see her running, and there's a defender under it who's going to get it to it first. The defense got to it first, so Austria is having a second bite at this score. They've now set up in a vertical stack. Great shot to the open side. And the disc is up, and Austria's cutter is running, and we have a second person behind it. Unfortunately, neither can get to it. So Sweden is back on the disc. Shot up the sideline. Great footwork to reel that in, and a great grab. Unfortunately, the throw slightly overthrows and makes it difficult for number 71 to get there. So we're back with Austria. Who so far seem more comfortable in the vert stack. A holies, and the cutter gets and a second break throw. Great work by the two handlers. This is unfortunately too high and get reeled on by Sweden. This is a great chance for Sweden. They've made it almost to the brick mark already. They remain calm and moving up the disc, and it's going. And can she get there on? So Austria is going to have another chance. So far, none of these scores have been clean holds. Every score has been provided an opportunity to the opponents with at least one break chance, even though in the end, the original offense scored. Let's see if Austria is keeping with that pattern. And the disc is going up, and we have one Austrian on there, and she reads it really well and reins it in and resets it with his nice dump pass to get a new perspective on the pitch and give the rest an opportunity to play and set up. Great grab by the number 30. Daria Sharuga. And the disc is up and unfortunately can't connect. It's a timeout called by Sweden. That also gives me a quick opportunity for a small break, and we'll see you at the end of this timeout. Let's see how Sweden is setting up outside of this timeout. It looks like they're setting up in a third stack, but with 3 handlers instead of 2, what we're mostly used to in the current era of Ultimate Weigh-In. Austria is counting this with a... Or you can see here is a violation call because the disk wasn't checked in properly and the cutter already started, so we're just resetting this to wait for proper check-in. We now see different cut, a deep cut that isn't taken, but then the number 2 from the stack is using that space. Great cut by that handler to get free on the open side. And great shot. Number 19 now has the disc and goes down the sideline, but almost into the end zone. And just another cheeky pass down the sideline for another score. This was Linnea Lefkin, number 36, to number 25, Emma Carlson. This is the first break of the game. That was a really smart choice to go for that timeout when they regain possession to just keep focused, because this point is so far the longest point in this game, even without the 75 seconds for the timeout. It looks like Sweden is coming out in a zone for the first time in this game. And that over-the-top shot is reeled in by Austria. Good read to make that disc come in. That's a difficult disc to read as well, and Austria calmly collects it. And a great shot is going up. Let's see if it's... Unfortunately, it's collected by the Swedish deep defender. And the disc is going down the far sideline. Great grab by the Swedish player. Seeing a clearly open player further down. Great body check to get free, and a great read to collect the second break of the game, going to the Swedes. They're now in a 3-point run. A pass from Lisen Algren, number 64, to Wilma Westman, number 34, who already scored the first goal in this game. So it's putting her back on the scoreboard for her second goal. So that zone that the Swedes put on clearly seemed to have put pressure on the Austrian offense, especially having those deep defenders against the deep shots seems to really help, because so far Austria has been really good at reeling those deep shots in against a match defense, but now they seem to have the same problem that the Swedes had earlier, that having that deep defender waiting for those shots to go up makes it really hard to place them perfectly so that your cutter can get to it fast. So that was a good choice on the Swedish part to maybe try out a different defense. Let's see what Austria is doing now. They're letting the pull pass, but they've now we're back into a match defense by Swedes, and Austria is melting into a vert stack after this initial pull play in a horizontal stack. The cuts are going well. They're using great shots, and they're reeling it in. That's another score for Austria. Austria is back on the board with another score. I unfortunately can't see the numbers really great, so I can only tell you once it's updated online who scored. But that was great team effort by the Austrians to keep that disc moving and using the open spaces across the pitch. That again puts Daria Shiruga with another assist to Filipa Bubinic on the scoreboard. This might have been our first clean hold across this game. It's definitely the fastest score. Great patience by the Swedes to just keep the disc moving across the pitch. Austria is coming back out in that zone that has at least provided them with break opportunities in the past. And this was a hasty shot into the middle, making it really difficult to catch. So this is exactly the break opportunity that Austria wanted. Unfortunately, that disc is also extremely low and difficult to catch, so Sweden's back with the disc. But currently moving backwards. And now a great shot to the open side around that frontal mark. But that was a great read by the defender, getting to that disc fast. And a hand block by a Swedish person. The disc is up. It's coming too short. Can she get there first? No, the defenders are getting there first. Another option for Austria. And a co-sideline. Doesn't take the upline, but rather wants to use the around. Unfortunately, that disc is too high for the cutter to get there. And that gives Sweden another opportunity, and it's sailing into the end zone. Who's getting there first? But the defense is moving to the disc with more eagerness and can get another block on one of those longer shots. And the disc is up and the disc is sailing. Let's see. Oh, that's unlucky. The defense got to it, but just bopped it far enough, maxed it so that Austrian cutter still got to it. That was an unlucky misconnection. I believe that disc was supposed to go to somebody else, probably the 31. And Sweden is taking their second timeout for this half. And I will take another short break. Again, I don't know if you could hear, but we have the volunteers keeping somewhat of the time and giving signals through whistles for them to set up. And a timeout should not last longer than 75 seconds for the offense. They should be set after those 75 seconds. Sweden is setting up in horizontal stack. They might expect Austria to set up in the zone again because they've done so in the past. They're really giving them the undershots, believing that those deep shots is something that they can cover, but it doesn't look like a zone. It's actually match defense. A great fake, and the disc is going up, and it's sailing. And can she get there? It's slowing down, and defense got to it first. That so far has been the biggest advantage that Austria has. They're really good at reeling on those deep shots. In both directions. Unfortunately, this one curved too much and hit the ground instead of being easily catchable. But so far, Austria has been really reading those deep shots quite well, either as offenders when cutting deep or as defenders. Great effort by Austria to intercept that disc, but it's still in the hands of the Swedish team. We're now moving it with short passes again across the pitch. View decided to not show us what's going on with the disc. I can only assume it's still in the hands of the Swedish team because those players don't seem to be going back for a turnover. You can now really see how well the deep defender is covering that one person going deep. So if you want to overload them, you need to work together as a team. Disc is going up, and again, that was a great read again. Unfortunately, I can't see the number. But yeah, it is really difficult to get those deep shots off if they are one-on-one defended. But if you could overload that one deep defender with two, having two people go deep, that might give you some options to put those nice hucks where they're supposed to be going. But Austria with the disc. Great up the line cut. Again. Keeps it safe. This seems to be an out call on the pitch. I don't believe we had a good perspective to figure out if it was one. We'll see and have a quick discussion on, based on body language, Swedish is saying that they've landed on the line, and Austria seems to be indicating that they didn't and caught a disc in first. This discussion is now going on for 45 seconds. You've already heard the whistle from the volunteers. A most likely outcome is if they can't agree, often the call is going to be contested and the disc is just going to be returned to the previous last undisputed thrower. That's the easiest way to continue playing a game if you can't agree what you believe to be the truth. It seems like they've still, So the disc is The out call is contested, so the disc is moving back. We're resetting to, or should be resetting to where they were when that disc, prior to the disc being thrown. So probably that person on the sideline wouldn't be exactly where they are now. Let's see if they can get to the disc. Unfortunately, they can't. Great inside shot, though. Unfortunately, too far for both cutters. And for setting a great mark. Moving. And another high disc, and she can't get to it, but there's also some body contact, but they seem to be fine. So the turnover stands. Austria setting up in the zone again, at least in front of the handlers. They also have a good job of really closely defending people downfield, not just standing in a space waiting for it to be attacked. So I really like the zone Austria is putting on. I would really love to see the other side of the pitch currently. Austria still moving the disc. Sweden is putting a lot of pressure on the downfield cutters, apparently with tight match defense. But that was a great upline cut by Pia Sofia Hahn. And another great second effort to catch the disc by Austria. We've seen that before, that they work together as a team. Everyone is trying to get to the disc as a defense or as an offense. That's another great score that I unfortunately couldn't see. And that should be the first break for Austria. The score was number 33, Mia Grossegger, to number 31, Pia Sofie Hahn, who really opened up the field by a great upline cut, gaining a lot of yards on the open side earlier in this point. So great work. Pulse coming down, and Sweden is again setting up in a 3-4 vert stack against the zone. They're moving now more towards a horizontal setup. The Swedes comfortably moving the disc along and finding open spaces even down the pitch. There's great placement by number 14 and a great throw. Great cut through the cup by number 1, who's now waiting for another option. Great crush by number 19 as well. With crossfield shot, and there's, so you can't read it in this, and 2 Austrian defenders getting under that disc too. Austria with the disc setting up again in the vert stack, moving the disc between handlers, seeing if they get good continuation options. So far they've slightly too late. for those to make them work. But we're moving up, and the disc is up, and the disc is going, and can she get... Yes, again, the Austrians are using their space to believe they can still get to a disc even after the defense might have tipped it. That is great commitment to get to every disc that is possible. And that was a great run through D by the Swedish defender, who's picking up the disc and slightly overthrowing, unfortunately, number 19. And the disc is going up again, and let's see, she's almost stopped, but then she reads it really well, reels it in. There's another score for Austria, and it's another break. We're back on serve. You're also very close to the 45-minute mark. And if I'm not mistaken, that might mean that we reach halftime quite soon. We're playing... That was, again, a score by... assist by Daria Sharuga. And the score is by number 9, Pia Frühstück. Halftime... as far as I know, these games are going to 13 as a hard cap, and that would mean that the halftime cap would be at 7. We will almost reach 45 minutes, so that might be reaching the halftime cap for the score before we reach 7. That slightly depends on when exactly the score this game actually started. Now, we need to finish this point anyway, which leaves to score to 6, and then halftime should remain at 7. Austria trusting that their zone has worked quite well, so they're sticking it to it. Great look by the Swedes to find those spaces, short pass spaces. Let's see if they can just carry it to across the pitch. Another great shot under the hands of the mark, and the disc is going up again. And this time it reaches its sender target, and that's a score for Sweden. Another great deep shot by Lisa Arnsmeyer, number 24, to Wilma Westman, who I believe scored for the third time. No, second time. Yep. But contrary to it, looks like we've reached halftime based on the fact that everyone is moving off the pitch. In that case, I see you back in about 7 minutes. This has been an interesting and captivating game so far. Both teams went on to a run of 3 points in a row, which means we're still on serve. Sweden has started on offense, and they've clinched that so-called galaxy point at halftime for a score of 6-5. Let's see what happens in the second half. So we should have about 2.5 minutes until the game restarts. Just to clear up one confusion, the halftime time cap is at 40 minutes, which explains why the score for the 5-5 that put us back the second break was exactly roughly 25 seconds after that cap. That means the point is the point that we needed to finish, and that meant that halftime would be at 6 after that score for 5-5. Other than that, the first half has been very exciting. The first half was quite exciting. Both teams managed to break each other 2 times, which still means that we're on serve, exactly where you would expect to be. I believe only Austria managed to ever have a clean hold for 5-3. So far, both teams have been putting on quite a lot of defensive pressure, and sometimes a bit more calmness on both sides might make it easier for them. The Swedes have been quite calm throughout this game and trying to carry it in, and have also adjusted some of the deep shots to make it easier to read, and placing them better in front of their own cutters rather than into the space that the defender is also closer to. So they've adjusted that. Let's see if that's going to continue in the second half. The Austrian zone has been quite effective. They've been really good at reeling in deep shots, either as cutters from a word stack, but also the Austrian deep defender has been done really well at reading the discs and positioning themselves really well. Another option for Sweden would be to attack that deep space with 2 people, so either the cutter, the deep defender, has to cover 2 people, which makes it easier to hit one of them, or one of the other defenders have to fall back too, which creates a lot more space in the middle of the pitch, and then they can use their short pass game that has been quite successful so far. Austria has been doing well getting back into the game with the second run for 2 breaks, and like I've said before, their zone seems to be working so far quite effectively, so they should probably stick to that and create a little bit more space for each other and time their cuts slightly earlier to make it easier to be hit in the open space. But one of their strengths so far in this game has been to really try to get to every disc and not just trust on one person, but having other people also make a second attempt to get the disc. That has worked twice quite well in their favor, and they often have at least 1 or 2 defenders on the deep shots, making it way more likely for them to get the disc. So we're back in the game. Sweden is coming out in a zone, and Austria is so far handling it quite comfortably by just passing him on the handler space. Let's see if they can swing it all the way to the far side. They don't, and then they take that second shot again. Nothing's clear downfield, so they just move it back again, but slightly further inching towards the end zone line. A great shot into the middle, and the disc is going up, and let's see if they can get there. And that's another great shot, deep shot from the roughly half-line line from Austria. Another great shot by Daria Shiruga, who's been the go-to assist for Austria so far. 4 assists and 1 goal to Lisa Hartwig, number 41, who's getting on the scoreboard with this score after halftime. That's another clean hold for Austria. That was just a great point by Austria, working with this exactly with the passes across the pitch that the Swedish zone gave them, and then finding that slight hole in the middle, and then a great deep shot by Daria Sharuga. Let's see what the Swedes are going to do against what I presume to be a zone again. Swedes are moving across the pitch in this short, unlucky misconnection. Sometimes easier to actually hit a moving target because they don't have to turn around if you put it in the right direction, and that was a difficult pass to get. But this is another break chance for Austria. They need at least one of these if they want to win. But that's a great run through D by the Swedish defender. Sweden again setting up in a 3-4 setup. Good fake, but then a great shot over the top. Good reeled in, and a great shot up the line, and see, is it going? It's going, and then the Austrian defender gets to it first, slightly placed too far into the middle rather than straight to the outside. This is another chance for Austria. And discus up, and good read by number 33. Seems unclear to me which side. Okay. Slight miscommunication on the Swedish side, which side they wanted to open or force clear. Unless it's supposed to be force middle. Austria so far making a good job, and a great backhand around, break around. And the discus up, and there are two Austrians behind it, and that's the first break chance of the second half, putting Austria in the lead for the first time in this game. That is Maja Zientek, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, number 5, and to the captain Ellen Maurer, number 8. Putting both of them on the board for this game for the first time. That zone seems to be really working for Austria. They're defending the deep shots really well. The Swedish team can have those deep shots. They have those throws. They just need to place them slightly differently, or their cutters should overload the space more to give them more options to hit different people with those throws. Let's see what's happening in this point. There's quite a bit of space in the middle of that zone, and the Swedish team is using it quite well. High over the top, great reeled in by Swedish team under the pressure of two defenders. Past his sideline, and it's going up, and it's connecting to the player close to the end zone. Quick high release over the top, moving it to the far side, just to keep the disc moving and create flow. And the disc is up, and it is reeled in by exactly the intended target, even though two Austrian defenders are rushing towards them. That's a great put and good throw by Linnea Löfgren, number 36, to Isabel Liljeqvist, who prior to this game has been one of the scoreboard leaders for the Swedish team with already 5 goals prior to the game. But this is her first goal in this one. I presume that everyone is on this sideline because this sideline has at least some sort of shade, and if the temperatures are as high as I expect, that is a wise choice during a game. Seems continuing with a match defense and puts enough pressure on that pass to make it difficult to catch, and out back with another chance for another break. Disc is up, and they can get to it, and my screen froze. We can see together if I can see if the upload means they've scored. Unfortunately, yes. So that was the assist from number 37, Emma Hageby, to number 64, Lisen Algren. Lisen Algren, in a previous point, for when she threw the assist, you could really see a great body movement by her and a great shimmy to fake her defender out. So let's presume this is what happened here too. I'll see when a stream is back on. come back as soon as we can. I'm sure the people on site are doing their best to restart the stream. This is another score. We've missed another score, assist by Filipa Bubinic to Carolina Roos. By the time of that duration of that point, I assume it was a clean hold. We'll see. We're still working on a solution and we'll be back as soon as we can. The score is still 8-8. Yes, we're back. There's 3 scores. It's currently 9. This must be a great chance for them. Great layout bit by Austria, but there's some discussion about it. Okay, the Austrian sideline was signaling goal, so this is a goal. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but I'm excited to see what's going to happen now. So we've missed the last 2 scores. We've left shortly before the 8-7 for Sweden. That was scored by Lisa Ahlgren. Then the score for tie from Austria for 8-8, Filippa Bubinic to 39, Carolina Rus. And then 2 scores by Sweden. First, Lisa Ahlgren assisted to Lisa Ahrensmeyer. And then what we just saw, Lily Adolfsson to Isadora Motzfeldt Treppendal. This puts both of these, Adolfsson and Treppendal, on the scoreboard for the first time in this game. And the score is now 10-8. The remaining time in regulation game time is about 7 minutes. 6 to 7 minutes. Sweden is coming out with a zone and again a great second option from Austria over the top, working it down the sideline, and you can see the disc going up, and we have 2 people under it, and unfortunately it was Sweden saying it was out of bounds at the back of the end zone because it was slightly too far. The Austrian players seem to agree, so it's going out of bounds and it's turnover. So Sweden is back with the disc. This is a great coverage, defensive coverage by Austria, but Sweden manages to squeeze it down the line one more time. Let's see if that's where they're going to go again next. And a high release around. And a great layout D by Austria. Immediately picks it up and throws a hammer over the top. Unfortunately, a Swedish defender gets there first. So Sweden is on the move again. The disc is up. Let's see if Austria can... Again, the same defender gets another chance for a D and immediately hacks it again. And I think there's the same discussion of whether that catch was in or out of bounds again. It seems really difficult to see where that line is on the ground, especially with all these other lines around it, even though they've tried to marcate it with the cones. Jesus Christ, that's annoying. They're discussing it now with 4 people. Unfortunately, I couldn't see anything, and our perspective is quite far away, and it's difficult to know where that foot is and where the line is. We'll see if they can come to a conclusion in the next 15 to 30 seconds. So they seem to disagree on the outcome. So the disc is the alcohol is contested. So the disc is going back, and everyone else is moving back to where they were when that throw was released, which should mean everyone is moving slightly further back than they are. But not another deep shot. We just see a short pass Tendler game and a great break throw. Gets a disc back immediately, a bump on the mark, but we just continue playing. And then another breakthrough for the score, and Austria is back on the board. The score is 10-9. It's again the assist by Daria Sharuga to Ellen Maurer. Daria Sharuga has been score-wise the most influential player for Austria in this game, and the individually most successful player in this game over both teams, with a total of 6, 5 assists and 1 score. There's only 2 more minutes, roughly, of game time. So let's see who's going to score the next point. An unlucky misconnection on the Swedish side, which gives Austria the chance to equalize in this point. And another hackers going up, and you can see that trying their best, laying out, but can't get to it, unfortunately. So Swedish is on the offense again. But a misconnection on that side gives Austria another chance. Now a lot closer to the break point and the goal line. But also this throw slightly overthrown. Yeah, some miscommunication what actually is the goal line. And then disc is back into play. A great reeled in by number 27. And then easy open dump pass. And then moving it into the field a bit. And just keeping the disc moving. Austrian defense is spaced out quite well. But the Swedish team seems to be confident in just passing the disc along and then finding those shots into the middle whenever they're actually free. And then a high shot. Unlucky for the Swedish team, but a great defensive heads up by number 8. And got to the disc again. Great defensive coverage, and then good second cut by Austria. Moving it up the field. 63 currently has it. And that almost over yet, just a couple of more meters across the line. believe number 30 has the disc again. A nice round. Putting it into the end zone, 2 people are running towards it, and it's another score for Austria. This has probably brought us over the time. Seems to be unclear if somebody's called a timeout. The Swedish team doesn't look like it, but Austria might have. I'm still waiting on the confirmation who scored this last point. We should definitely reach the time cap by now. Sweden definitely wants to put this one in. And they're using the small pass game that has worked for them quite well, interspersed with great passes around to move the disc to the far sideline or into the middle. Unlucky for Sweden, this gives Austria a break chance and potentially the score to win. Great catch by the Austrian cutter, and Chevruga gets the disc back. And the disc is up, and it's can she get there? Can she get there? And she's running towards it, and this is the score. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the score to win. That puts 11-10 for Austria. It's their first win in this tournament. I'm not entirely sure how that's going to shake out in the scoreboard. Oh. I'll take it back. Maybe that wasn't a finishing throw. It was. They're setting up for the Spirit Circle. I'm still waiting on the confirmation on who scored these last 2 points. But overall, it's been a great game from both sides. And I think both teams played really well. The Austrian zone really put the pressure on the Swedish team, making it hard to get those deep shots exactly to their teammates the way they intended to. But the Swedish team played really well, getting those short passes in I'll be excited to see what either of them can do in the next couple of days. Stay around for more games today. We should have